with one eye on bolstering India's combat capability and another on achieving the Atmanirbharta mission in defence manufacturing, the Defence Acquisitions Council has cleared purchases and upgradations worth 39,000 crore rupees. Now, the purchase would include procurement of over 31,000 crore rupees from Indian companies. The timing of the announcement is critical. It comes at a time when India is engaged in a bitter standoff with China after the face-off at the Galwan Valley last month, which led to the death of 20 Indian Army personnel. In fact, Prime Minister Modi visited Ladakh today to take stock of the situation. While addressing soldiers, the Prime Minister took a whale dig at China and said that the era of expansionism is over. Take a look.
साथियों, विस्तारवाद का युग समाप्त हो चुका है। ये युग विकासवाद का है। तेजी से बदलते हुए समय में विकासवाद ही प्रासंगिक है। और साथियों, ये न भूले, इतिहास गवाह है कि ऐसी ताकतें मिट गई हैं या मुड़ने के लिए मजबूर हो गई। भारत माता के दुश्मनों ने आपकी फायर गोई देखी है और आपकी फ्यूरी भी। आपकी इच्छा शक्ति आसपास के पर्वतों जितनी अटल है। साथियों, जब देश की रक्षा आपके हाथों में है, आपके मजबूत इरादों में है, तो एक अटूट विश्वास है। सिर्फ मुझे नहीं, पूरे देश को अटूट विश्वास है और देश निश्चिंत भी है।
Well, that is the Prime Minister addressing soldiers in Leh. Joining us now is our colleague Rituparna Bhuyan to take us through the key announcements on defence procurement cleared by the DAC. Ritu, take us through what has been cleared and what the implications are.
Defence procurement worth rupees 38,900 crore has been approved. Of this, 31,130 crore worth of equipment will be supplied by the Indian industry either through design and development or through offset related arrangements. Let me take you through some of the important defense platforms which will be procured. Firstly, the Pinaka missile systems. The Pinaka missile systems is used by the Indian Army. It's a tried and tested missile system, and because of this additional procurement, Indian Army will be able to raise new regiments of Pinaka missile systems. That is one. Secondly, you will have what is known as the Astra Beyond Visual Range all-weather air-to-air missiles. This was indigenously developed in India. This will also be procured to increase the capability of the Indian fighter aircrafts, which can now launch missile against enemy aircraft, from a long distance. Then you will have what is known as design and development of long-range land attack cruise missiles. These cruise missiles will have a range of at least 1,000 kilometers. These systems will cost 24,440 crores, but that is not all. We'll also be buying fighter aircrafts. 21 MiG-29 aircraft will be bought from Russia. Not only that, 59 existing MiG-29 aircraft of the Indian Air Force, they will also be upgraded in the same package, which will cost rupees 7,418 crores. Last but not the least, 12 Sukhoi 30 Mk aircrafts will also be procured from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which will license produce them, and the estimated cost of the Sukhoi 30 program will be rupees 10,730 crores. With that,
all right, so many thanks for joining us with the procurement as well as upgradation plan that has been cleared by the Defence Acquisition Council. Now, the top management from 3 leading defence manufacturing companies with us on the program: Jayant Patil, the Senior Executive Vice President for L&T Defence, and also the President of the Society of Indian Defence Manufacturers, retired Colonel H.S. Shankar, the Chairman and Managing Director of Alpha Design Technologies. Also with us on the program, Udyant Malhotra, the Managing Director and CEO of Dynamatic Technology. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on the show. Mr. Patil, let me start by asking you about the implications of this order that has now been cleared by the DAC, and given the requirement for local manufacturing, what will this mean for companies like yours?
Shirin, the Pinakas, that's the first thing that Rituparna talked about. Pinakas is an indigenously designed and developed system. There are many regiments in service, and these are add-on regiments. Now, this is something which is in excess of 96% indigenous. So it's homegrown, it's fully built here, and there are going to be numbers that is going to be coming. We have currently 6 regiments of weapon systems in the pipeline, just about to be ordered. And yesterday's announcement is about the physical armament for that.
Yeah.
So the missiles, the rocket, it's actually a guided rocket. So the guided rockets are now going to be ordered as add-on quantities. Obviously, the earlier stocks exist, but this is an add-on quantity.
Okay.
So one major movement forward is you can fire at some long distance kind of ranges in artillery mode. The second acquisition is specific to about the BMP upgrades. Those are our armored personnel carriers. It's an upgrade program on that. Extremely important because we have a system which is taken from the Russians earlier days, but obviously needs some amount of upgrade, having lived through its existing life. The third major program obviously is long-range cruise missile, and that's existing today in prototypes. It today is tried out multiple number of times. Now it's time to actually replicate in numbers, and that's exactly the third decision about. Fourth, obviously, is the Astra, which is an air-to-air missile, which has been fully proven, working. So it's again numbers going to be now produced. Sometimes, one feels that whenever you have a border issue, our own indigenous industry and the indigenous developments actually take the prime role. That's exactly what we are seeing now.
Yes, so the consequence of the standoff that we're seeing at the LAC between India and China, as Mr. Patil was pointing out, perhaps aiding or accelerating this move. But Udayant, let me ask you, what kind of timelines are we speaking of, and what is the current order book, if you can help explain that to us, for Indian industry from the Ministry of Defence? What will contribute as the offset arrangement as part of this broad timelines that we're looking at?
So thank you, Shirin. Firstly, most of our business is based on a global market, and we export most of the high-end aerostructures that we build. We have traditionally, our original business, we grew in with the Indian Ministry of Defence, with DRDO and with HAL, with BEL, and we build major structures for company. For the Sukhoi 30, for example, 1/6 of the airframe is built by us. The main fuselage of the Tejas LCA is built by us. Major sections of the radars for anti-missile systems are built by us. Now, all this will benefit at an individual level. But I think what we are seeing, and I think Mr. Patil described it in much greater detail, I won't want to repeat it. There's a huge spend that is going to flow through to primes and sub-tiers and across the MSME sector in India. And I think this is going to be a very important moment for Indian defense manufacturing, domestic manufacturing.
You believe it's going to be a big move forward for the Indian defense manufacturing industry. So, Colonel Shankar, let me ask you that, because Udayant talked about the impact that this will have, the positive impact that this will have as far as defense MSMEs are concerned. As someone who is dealing with this, let me ask you about how significant a push this is likely to provide, and what are the key challenges, that you as a defense MSME face today that you also believe need to be addressed, along with the fact that this procurement and upgradation program is now taking off?
Yeah, thank you. And let me start with where Udayant ended his, his talk with respect to the MSMEs. You see, when any order goes to the Indian companies and big companies like L&T or even public sectors, and then even MSMEs like mine, and then Udayant, which is a medium scale industry, there is a whole lot of tier 2, tier 3 subcontractors who are almost 95% of them are in the MSME sector.
Right.
So they also get benefited out of that. So if when I'm sure Jayant is telling about the Pinaka, he must be having about 100 to 150 such industries who are providing the subsystems and then the components, materials.
Yes.
They're all going to be benefited, and that is a great thing that has happened. And if you make an assessment about the announcement of the Defense Acquisition Council,
Yes.
whatever that they have decided about, in this, though there are items that are being supposed to be procured from abroad, in that there are offsets, I'm sure that is part of it. For example, MiG-29-21 numbers, and the cost of that is 7,415 crores or so. So since this is beyond 2,000 crores, there is an offset element in that. It's up to the Indian industry, almost about 1/3 of that. And that will all be done by one or two major industries, but majority of them is from MSME.
Right.
So the crux of this as direct offsets, which we have been stressing to the government of India, don't leave off these direct offsets, take advantage out of it, because that is the one that is the bread and butter as far as industries are concerned. Similarly, this, let's say the Sukhais. For Sukhais, believe me, myself and Udayant in our companies, we make almost 30 to 35% of the subsystems for Sukhai. All about 150 odd Sukhais that are flying have got ailerons, flaperons, and then the other items, the rear fuselage, all of them from both of us. Sometimes we compete, sometimes we always work together as subcontractors to HAL. So this is a huge plus. So though when it is said that it is procured from abroad, in the present context,
Yeah.
I think more than about 30 to 50% will directly come to the Indian industry. In addition to some of them which are indigenously developed, like what Jayant told about Pinaka, where 80% indigenous content. So it is purely Indian. Similarly, if you go, they have also made out the one that again Jayant mentioned about the upgradation of the BMP-2, which has been approved as one of the first major Make-2 project. Make-2 project means we as industries, we make the complete investments for NRE and for developing it. The government of India gives the platform to us, the BMP. On that, we make all the modifications, improvements of this modern fire control system and give it for trials and evaluations. Once it is accepted, then we are sure of getting some orders out of that. Maybe 50-50, whatever the government.
Okay.
So these sort of great things they have done, particularly in this meeting of Defense Acquisition Council, which is of great importance. And also, mind you, they have not lost sight of, in my opinion, the futuristic trends. In the case of the simple thing, which only about 400 numbers they have cleared of the software-defined radio. Software-defined radio is the radios that are going to replace the whole of the communication network, the tactical communication network of the Indian Army, from the present analog mode of communication to digital to fully indigenously developed waveforms generated software-defined radios. So they have impetus to that 400 numbers to DRDO. But again, just before that, they had come out with an expression of interest to private sector industries like all of us. But now in a competitive manner for this newer technology, where we have all done a lot of work already, and we will take part in that. And
so that's good to hear. So you're saying that this is going to benefit Indian manufacturers, specifically MSMEs who are used as subcontractors by large manufacturers like L&T and others. Mr. Patil, let me ask you, sir, we're also in the midst of COVID pandemic at this point in time, to the point that Colonel Shankar was raising about the offsets and the benefits that will accrue to Indian manufacturers to try and take that forward. Has there been any delay in the offset timelines? Overall, what is the state and the situation of the industry in dealing with the COVID crisis?
Shireen, offsets necessitated that the order had to go to a foreign company. because only when it goes to a foreign company, he then puts an
Correct.
offset contract on an Indian company. I think our best bet, and that's exactly where the Atmanirbhar Bharat is really focusing on, our best bet is to actually place the orders on Indian companies. So offsets is an aspect which is, in case we are forced to place orders onto somebody else,
Yeah.
then he must give certain piece of work. Now, yesterday's decision, if we see, I see very clearly that about 10,000 to 11,000 crores will go overseas.
Okay.
Now, what will also happen, like Colonel Shankar talked of, when these equipment physically comes here, the entire life cycle of that would get supported by the MSMEs. So under the offsets, there would be a large amount of, let's say, business opportunities in the long run. I would say in the short run, because especially when in Russia you buy equipment, there are not too many offsets which have come from Russia ever.
Okay.
So I won't expect this time it to be greatly different. But the Indian orders, which essentially are roughly half of this number, little more than 20,000 crore, plus an impact of the rest, which is essentially what is that 31,000 crore all about. Let me tell you that small study, because at the society we keep doing these kind of simulations. If there is a 20,000 crore order which is signed on Indian companies as prime contractors, it will mean nothing less than 100 to 120,000 crores to the Indian industry.
Okay.
Overall, the multiplier today that works in our industry as addition to the GDP of the country in terms of economic value add, because it passes through multiple hands. Now, this is essentially where that 100,000 crores gets created additionally to
Okay.
that 20,000 crores which has been ordered. I think that makes the whole ecosystem viable.
Okay.
We have seen some bold decisions. Let me say this is not something which is new, because last about 5 years we have seen in excess of 4 lakh crores, which essentially today fit into this basket, which will be ordered on Indian companies. So the government has built what will certainly be done in India. It will not be now imported, and that's essentially somewhere close to about 4 lakh crores. Now, as and when the budgets actually are available,
Yeah.
that's the stage we expect what will close to about it, government to start physically placing orders. Because the process begins with the acceptance of necessity, which is what has happened in the DSC yesterday.
Yeah.
And as and when they have funds available, they will start ordering. So
Yes.
typically one can expect anywhere between 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, these orders to physically materialize.
Okay, between 2 to 4 years for the orders to physically
Yeah.
materialize.
What-
But
yeah.
Udyan, let me ask you about the state of industry at this point in time. It's a challenging environment, specifically for the economy in general, but for specific sectors like aviation, the one that you deal with. I know that you're feeling pain on the commercial side, but on the defense side, things very different?
Well, actually, it's very interesting. As I mentioned, 95% of our production is global. We export it. We are sole supplier to Boeing Defense for major structures of the Chinook and P-8. We are on every Airbus as a sole supplier. And we make the entire fuselage of the Bell 407, which is not even sold in India. About 100 helicopter cabins exported last year. Now, as a sole supplier, there was a challenge because you have to have business continuity across the supply chain. In Europe and North America, this was a critical, essential service. And I have to tell you, I'm really amazed and pleased at the government, because in our southern states of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, both these states declared aerospace and defense as essential services along with medical devices, just to ensure that companies like ours and our peers in the industry would keep the business running. Now, to go back to your question, while commercial sales are down by about 35-40% in Airbus, we're seeing almost a matching increase in military sales, as across the world there's investment. It's not just in India, but across the world, there's a beefing up of investment in military equipment.
Yes, and that is offsetting what you are seeing as the decline on the commercial side, at least as far as the aviation business is concerned. But Colonel Shankar,
Almost mirroring it.
let me ask
Sorry.
you, Colonel Shankar, the DPP 2020 was expected to be released on the 30th of June. The draft has, of course, been shared with each one of you. What is the key ask now as we move forward, not just in light of the procurement order and the upgradation order that's been cleared by the DAC, but, in specific, what would you now like the government to prioritize with DPP 2020?
We have had a large number of discussions between individual companies and also as part of the institutions like SIDM, CII, FICCI and all that with the government of India, ASSOCHAM also. And as a group of companies, we have given lots of areas where we feel it could be adopted. And let me honestly tell you, on that basis, the acquisition wing, the defense production group, and Army, Navy, Air Force, they have been most adaptive and most encouraging in taking the views of the industry to modify the DPP 20 to suit the Indian companies overall. The most advantageous things that they have done is they have introduced as part of the indigenous development, in addition to what they call as the Make 2, where the Indian companies themselves invest in developing the products or the systems or the subsystems and offer it to the Indian Army, their own non-recurring expenditure bearing that fully. In addition to that, the issue of what is called as the innovative design,
Yes.
IDEX, has also been introduced, where the government of India partially funds. Particularly, this is of great use to MSMEs and the startup. Value at present, what they provide is not very much. It's about 1.5 crores.
Okay.
But seed money for the industries to look working together, and then they can grasp that and go forward.
Okay.
Is the export orientation that can be had from the Indian industries have been given an impetus, and itself will fetch a lot of orders with respect to our own work in the various countries abroad. And then they have simplified and expanded the offset value and how exactly the offsets could be obtained by the companies abroad, in line with what is happening in quite a few companies abroad.
Okay.
But the technology transfer is also being added over there. And the companies abroad can put their funds in a fund of funds.
Right.
For to be utilized by the MSMEs later on from the government of India. So these sort of new additional incentives have been added.
Correct.
With a multiplication factor for the offsets.
Okay, that's
So-
good to hear. That's good to hear. Mr. Patil, let me just ask you to take that point forward because we're running out of time. Do you believe that DPP 2020, as Colonel Shankar was pointing out, has enough meat to aid the growth of the Make in India program for the Indian defense industry, both in value and volume?
Shireen, to tell you truth, absolutely being truthful. If the policy with some amount of changes which have actually been suggested gets implemented, it's the best DPP we would have ever seen in the past.
Okay.
I can tell you it's across the board indigenization is increased. Long-term projects, government has understood that inflation, foreign exchange variation, all these kind of things, there's a need to handhold industry, all that is in place. There's enormous amount of, problem areas which industry has been facing over years, most of them addressed. There's only some small amount of work which obviously continues and which all of us through the society will keep pushing the government toward that to give us a perfect level playing field with respect to the public sector.
Okay.
Today, we actually see Indian industry, and since you mentioned about the Make in India, today we have preferential purchase categories,
Correct.
which will come in before any global buying can ever happen.
Yeah.
And there's 5 categories, only all the 5 are not feasible. Only then there is a consideration for a global player. Even within that, now the new category says there is a global, but even if the global player gets an order, can he set up an industry here or a team up with an existing player here and produce it in India. So there's a buy global, make in India, which is a kind of a new model that's being talked about. So
Okay.
it will obviously mean that substantial portion of what is going to be ordered by the government of India, of that typically a lakh of crore kind of a fund, which every year they get into the capex. This is something in terms of future, we'll see that more and more will start happening in the country.
Okay.
And obviously at some stage, it will take over the import content. which
Well,
right now,
that certainly
it's
is the
in
hope.
favor of the imports.
Yes, that certainly is the hope, that the import content will reduce quite significantly. And as you point out, indigenization has been growing. But Udyant, I'll give you the final say. Mr. Patil was talking about buying global but making in India. What about making in India for the world? Because the Prime Minister has said that it's not just about curbing imports, but it's also to boost exports out of India and sell to the world. What kind of interest are you now seeing beyond what we've already seen coming in?
Yeah, I think the first wave is when people are obligated to produce in India because of an offset. I think what people are seeing very clearly is quality, cost, delivery, and engineering capability in India that have been delivered and proven by several of our companies. And the fact that 95% of our sales is make in India for the world, not make in India for India, I think is the proof of that. And we are seeing a lot of traction because this COVID is a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
A lot of companies are facing stress, and they are now coming and reaching out to companies like ours for consolidation of certain supply chains and build products. I think it's a great opportunity India has had the last 7, 8, 10 years to prove itself, Indian industry. I think that's behind us. Now it's a matter of just getting great orders.
All right. It's a matter of just getting the orders in now, and we certainly hope that that is the case. Jayant Patil, Colonel Shankar, Udyant Malhotra, always a pleasure. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18 to talk about the upgradation and procurement order that's been cleared by the Defence Acquisition Council, as well as the road ahead for India's defence industry. With that, it is time for us to wrap things up here on this special. We will take a quick break. There's a lot more coming up. Don't go anywhere. The news will continue.